One book at a time. Today's selection is Decoding the Human Mind.
Have you ever wondered when you wake up each morning whether you are truly living a new day with awareness, or whether you are simply restarting a program that has already been running for years? You make coffee, you check your phone, you go to work along the same familiar route, you respond to the same kinds of situations in the same tired ways, as if your mind is operating on autopilot. It is astonishing when you really look at it. We like to believe the brain is fixed, stable, unchanging, but modern neuroscience says the opposite. The brain has plasticity. It can change, adapt, and rewire itself. It is far more flexible than most of us ever imagined. Now, here is the twist. What if I told you that more than a century ago, a brilliant mind already saw through this truth about human nature, long before scientists could scan the brain with MRI or map synapses in detail? That mind was William James, often called the father of American psychology. In his monumental work, The Principles of Psychology, he did not soften the message. He went straight for the raw truth of how we operate, and he offered a line that still hits like a hammer. We are nothing but a bundle of habits. It sounds harsh, does it not? A bundle of habits. As if we have no free will, no personal uniqueness, only a collection of conditioned responses. But be honest with yourself. Are you truly living, freely choosing each action and each thought? Or are you moving like a machine directed by scripts installed long ago? Habits carved so deeply into your mind that they feel like who you are. If that question makes you uneasy, if you feel the desire to break the loop, to understand the source code that is running your life, then you are in the right place. In this series, we are going to dive into the classic mind of William James. This is not just a historical tour of psychology. This is an adventure in decoding you. We will explore how James was ahead of his time in describing the stream of consciousness, the power of habit, the machinery of emotion, and most importantly, the mind's capacity to stay plastic, to change, and to shape itself. So get ready, because what we are about to uncover are not only foundational principles of psychology, but practical tools that can help you take back control of the inner software that drives your days. Are you ready? Then take a breath, open your attention, and let us step through the door into the fascinating world of William James and begin decoding the source code of the human mind. Chapter 1: The Biological Foundation of the Mind. When we talk about William James, we are talking about a giant in the history of ideas. He was not only a psychologist, but also a philosopher, a physician, and above all, a thinker. with an extraordinary ability to synthesize and see far beyond his era. From the very beginning, James lays down a bold claim, a foundation stone for everything that follows. Every mental state we experience, from the faintest thought to the fiercest emotion, has a clear physical basis in the brain. That may sound obvious today, but place yourself at the end of the 19th century, when dualism, the belief that mind and body are two separate substances, was still widely accepted. Many people believed the soul or the mind was something higher, something untouched by the rough material of the brain. And yet James stands up and says, "Without the brain, there is no mind." He does not treat the brain as a passive container. He treats it as the generator of the mind, the biological ground of every subjective experience we have. Every thought, every wave of joy or grief, every choice you make is the product of complex electrochemical activity inside your head. What makes this claim so remarkable in his time is how limited the understanding of the nervous system still was. Neuroscience was in its infancy. Microscopes were improving, allowing scientists to see individual nerve cells, the neurons that researchers like Santiago Ramón y Cajal and others were beginning to describe. They knew there were billions of these cells linked through tangled fibers into a dense and almost unimaginable network. But how could a mass of gray tissue weighing roughly 1.3 to 1.4 kilograms with tiny biological currents passing through it produce poetry, philosophy, love, and the sense of self? That remained a towering mystery. James did not retreat from that mystery. He embraced it. He sensed that the endless complexity of the nervous system, the countless connections and interactions, was the key to the richness of the mind. He believed that if we could map the pathways, trace the connections, chart the network in detail, we would begin to understand how consciousness and thought emerge. He knew he could not explain the full mechanism in his own era, but he held firmly to the guiding principle: look for the answer in the material reality of the brain. And here is where James begins to look almost prophetic when we place him beside modern neuroscience. Leap forward into the 21st century, and what do we have? We have tools like fMRI, EEG, and PET scans, technologies that allow us to watch the brain in action. We can see regions become active as someone feels fear, falls in love, recalls a name, or solves a problem. We can identify networks tied to specific cognitive functions. We understand far more about neurotransmitters, about brain plasticity, about how neurons connect and change through experience. In an extraordinary way, this confirms the vision James insisted on. He did not merely guess. he laid one of the earliest and most solid cornerstones for a biology-grounded psychology. He opened the door to the idea that to understand the mind, we must understand the brain, not as a cold machine, but as a living system that is constantly changing and adapting. So what does this mean for us? It means your mind is not a supernatural thing floating apart from your body. It is created, shaped, and sustained by the physical activity of your brain. And realizing that does not reduce the wonder of consciousness. It makes it more astonishing. Every thought, every feeling, every act of will has a biological root, and understanding this opens the door to deeper insight, and even to new ways of guiding and transforming the mind. As we close this first chapter, carry with you James's core conviction. The relationship between the physical brain and mental life is not a casual link. It is a profound dependence. The mind is the brain in action. This is the solid ground beneath everything that follows, and an invitation to go deeper into the stream of consciousness itself, which we will explore in the next chapter. Chapter 2: The Massive Power of Habit. William James, with the sharp vision of a sage, compares habit to the massive flywheel of society. Picture an enormous machine where every small action and every unconscious reaction of billions of people adds to an overwhelming momentum. Without habit, daily life would collapse into constant chaos. Think about it. If every morning you had to consciously decide what to wear, what to eat for breakfast, which route to take to work, you would be exhausted before the day even began. Habit is the invisible thread that binds us, shaping culture, shaping law, shaping the very way we move through the world. It creates stability, predictability, and allows society to run smoothly. Because of shared habits, we can cooperate, build, and progress. From standing in line to following traffic rules to carrying out complex cultural rituals, all of it is an expression of this flywheel at work. Habit saves us from making endless decisions and frees mental energy for problems that actually require thought. But how does repetition turn into something that feels almost natural, almost automatic? This is where the plasticity of the nervous system becomes essential. The brain is not a fixed stone. It is a living garden, always changing, always adapting. Each time you perform an action, even the smallest one, lifting a cup of coffee, pressing a key on a keyboard, even thinking a familiar thought, a specific neural pathway is activated. Imagine you are making a narrow trail through a dense forest. The first time, it is difficult. You push through branches and leaves. But if you walk that same route again and again, the path becomes clearer, wider, easier to travel. The nervous system works in a similar way. With repetition, the connections between neurons become stronger and more efficient. The pathway deepens. Signals travel faster and smoother until the behavior can run with little conscious direction. This is how the brain learns and optimizes behavior. Repetition is the master key. It turns deliberate effort into automatic response. It transforms a conscious choice into a pattern that executes itself. So what does this mean for everyday life? The greatest benefit of habit is that it frees the brain from the burden of thousands of small decisions each day. Imagine if every morning you had to think about how to brush your teeth, which hand to use, which tooth to start with. You would drain your mental energy before finishing your coffee. Because of habit, these tasks drop into the unconscious and become programs that run in the background. This allows the higher parts of the mind, the systems responsible for planning, creativity, and deep reasoning, to focus on bigger challenges, larger goals, and new ideas. We stop spending precious mental fuel on repetitive tasks. William James believed this was a key to human progress. Habit makes life efficient so that attention can be directed toward learning, inventing, and solving new problems, rather than being trapped in endless repetition. It helps us gain mastery over our days and create space for personal growth and meaningful achievement. But the power of habit is not only that it makes things easier, it is that it shapes who we become, slowly, quietly, every single day. Every good habit is an invisible ally that pulls you toward your goals, and every bad habit is a silent weight that drags you backward. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into how we can deliberately build and change these neural pathways to support the life we actually want. But for now, simply observe your habits today. You may be surprised by how much they are steering you. Chapter 3: 4 Golden Principles for Changing Habits. After we have gone deep into William James and his theory of habit, its power, and its importance, now we move into the part everyone needs: the practice. James was not only a theorist, he was intensely practical, and he laid out 4 golden principles, 4 guiding rules that can help you break a bad habit and build a good one. The first principle is that you must begin with the strongest possible decision. It sounds simple, but it is everything. James says that when you decide to change, you need an opening push powerful enough to create real momentum. Like starting an engine that has been sitting still, you need enough force to overcome the first resistance. If you begin with a casual maybe, if you tell yourself you will just try, you will likely quit within days. James urges you to turn it into a declaration to yourself, a moment of commitment so clear and so intense that it holds you steady when temptation arrives. Make it decisive. Make it final. Write the goal down. Mark the day. Tell someone you trust. Create a moment that locks the new direction into place. The second principle is that you must allow no exceptions until the new habit is rooted. This is where most people fail because the mind is extremely good at negotiating with itself. One small exception seems harmless, but it opens a crack in the wall you are trying to build. One skipped workout because you are tired. One late night on the phone because it is only for a minute. One extra coffee because you are busy. Then the second exception comes easier. Then the third. Very quickly, the old habit becomes the comfortable default again. James is blunt here. Do not give the old pathway oxygen. Not until the new pathway has deepened enough that it can run on its own. Treat every exception as a future relapse waiting to happen. The third principle is to seize every opportunity to act on the new decision. James draws a hard line between wanting and doing. Wanting does not build the habit. Doing builds the habit. Each time you face a choice connected to the change you want, even a small one, choose the action that matches the new identity you are creating. If you want to read more, open the book while you wait, instead of scrolling your phone. If you want to exercise, stand up the moment the alarm rings, instead of negotiating for 5 more minutes. If you want to eat better, prepare something simple and clean instead of reaching for fast food. These moments seem minor, but they are the bricks. Miss enough of them, and you will never have the material to build the new structure. Arrange your environment to make the right action easier. Put the book on your desk. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Reduce friction. Increase follow-through. The fourth principle is to practice daily effort so the will stays alive. This is not only about forming a habit, it is about strengthening the inner force that makes change possible. James suggests you do at least one thing each day that you would rather not do, simply as training. It can be small. Make the bed when you want to stay in it. Take a brief walk when you want to sit. Delay checking messages when you want the quick hit of distraction. The point is not punishment. The point is conditioning. Willpower is like a muscle. If you do not train it, it weakens. And when you need it for a larger battle, it will not be there. But if you practice small acts of discipline day after day, you build capacity. You learn that discomfort is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are growing. Each time you win against a small temptation, you increase the strength you will rely on later. So these are the 4 golden principles James gives us. Begin with a strong decision. Allow no exceptions until the new habit is rooted. Seize every chance to act on your new choice, and train your will every day to keep it strong. The method is simple, but it is powerful when applied with consistency. Because changing a habit is not a single event. It is a series of small decisions, repeated, committed, and protected. And in the next chapter, we will move deeper into the stream of consciousness and how that flowing inner life shapes perception, attention, and behavior. Chapter 4. The Stream of Consciousness. If the earlier chapters helped us lay the foundation for a new way of looking at psychology, then now get ready for one of William James's greatest aha moments. This is the idea that lifted him into a new category, a way of seeing the mind that permanently changed how we understand ourselves. Before James, many people, and honestly many of us even today without realizing it, pictured the mind as something made of separate pieces, as if thoughts were individual bricks, neat and distinct, lined up one after another, like beads on a string, each bead an isolated idea. You think about a tree, then you think about dinner, then you think about an appointment. 3 separate units, 3 separate mental objects. A quiet, static picture of the mind. But James, with the precision of a master observer, saw something completely different. He looked at real experience, at how the mind actually moves, and he said, no, that is not how it works. What you call thought is not a series of disconnected states. It is a continuous, living process. And he gave it a name that has echoed through psychology and even literature ever since: the stream of consciousness. He asks you to imagine the mind not as a chain of stops, but as a flowing reality that never holds still. There is no moment in your inner life where it freezes like a statue. Even when you believe you are focused on one single idea, the feeling around it, the context, and the self that is thinking it are already shifting. You cannot step into the same river twice, and you cannot think the same thought twice in exactly the same way. Because by the time you return to it, you have changed, even if only slightly. James compares the mind to a river, and it is almost impossible to find a better image. Close your eyes and picture a river. It is not a series of separate pools. It is one moving body of water, always in motion. There are stretches where it runs smooth and wide, where your thinking seems to glide calmly, familiar, habitual, like drifting through old memories or replaying a well-worn concern. The mind floats across the surface with barely a ripple. Then there are bends, narrow passages, rocks, rapids, where the water suddenly accelerates and changes direction. That is what it feels like when a new idea flashes into view, when a strong emotion hits, when a problem demands your attention and your mind has to pivot again and again. In those moments, the stream can become intense and turbulent. It can feel like it is pushing through obstacles. It demands effort. It demands focus. And here is the crucial point. The stream does not break. Even when you shift from one subject to another that seems completely unrelated, there is still a hidden connection, an invisible bridge that carries you across. The mind does not restart each time you change your attention. It is always the same stream. Only the direction and the speed have changed. This insight opened a new way of understanding the unity of the self, the way your experience is woven into one continuous tapestry, even though it contains countless colors and patterns. So from now on, stop thinking of your mind as bricks. Think of it as a river of consciousness, continuous, alive, always changing, never standing still. This is not only a beautiful metaphor, it is a fundamental shift in how we study the mind. It forces us to see consciousness not as a static collection of parts, but as a dynamic process in motion. And in the next chapter, we will go deeper into specific features of this flow and how it shapes the way you live and experience reality. Chapter 5: The absolute privacy of thought. When William James speaks about the stream of consciousness, the very first thing he wants us to recognize is this: every thought is mine. It sounds obvious at first, but pause and really feel it. As you listen to these words, as you wonder what you might eat tonight, as a quiet sadness passes through you, every one of those thoughts, feelings, and perceptions belongs to you. They are not free floating ideas in space. They do not belong to me, and they do not belong to anyone else. They are stamped with your presence. James states this clearly and firmly. Every thought you have is part of your personal experience, signed by the unique self that is doing the thinking. There is no shared mental stream that we can fully step into together. Each of us is a separate subject, carrying a private flow of consciousness that no one else can directly access. This leads us to a deep and sometimes unsettling truth. No one can ever completely enter the mind of another person. You may love someone deeply. You may have known them since childhood. You may feel that you understand them completely. You can anticipate their reactions. You can sense their pain. But no matter how close the bond, you can never truly step inside their inner world. You cannot feel their hunger exactly as they feel it. You cannot experience their joy with the same intensity and texture that it has in their awareness. You cannot think the same thought in the same way at the same moment. What you encounter are traces and expressions of their inner life, words, gestures, facial expressions. But the inner experience itself, what James calls the absolute privacy of consciousness, always remains within the individual. This is not a tragedy. It is a fundamental condition of being human. We are separate islands, each with a river of consciousness flowing within. We can build bridges. We can send messages. We can learn to understand one another. But we never become the other island. A therapist can listen and interpret, but cannot be the patient. A lover can empathize and share, but cannot be the beloved. So what does this mean for psychology? It creates a challenge, but also a vital starting point. James insists that if we want to understand the mind, we cannot treat it as only a physical machine. We cannot study the brain alone as a network of cells firing signals. We must always account for the subjective factor, the self that is experiencing, the I at the center of awareness. Psychology is not only the science of observable behavior, it is also the science of inner experience, of the worlds that individuals build and inhabit from the inside. Recognizing that every thought is mine and yours is what prevents psychology from becoming cold and mechanical, from losing sight of what makes human life meaningful. It reminds us that when we study the mind, we are approaching something deeply personal, deeply private, and utterly unique. The task of psychology is to interpret and understand these inner worlds, even though we can never fully enter them. So, in this 5th chapter, William James gives us a crucial insight into the stream of consciousness. It is personal. It is singular. It cannot be fully shared. Every thought carries your signature, forming an inner universe that no one else can completely reach. And perhaps realizing this does not make us lonelier. Perhaps it helps us value even more the rare moments of connection we do achieve, through words, through looks, through a simple smile. Moments when two separate islands manage, briefly, to communicate across the water. Chapter 6. Attention, the spotlight of the mind. Our goal in this chapter is to understand how the brain selects information from the billions of stimuli that bombard us every second. Think about it for a moment. Right now, how many sounds are reaching your ears? How many sensations are present on your skin? How many shapes and movements exist in your peripheral vision? It is a massive storm of information, and without a powerful filter, we would be completely overwhelmed. William James, the master of psychology, defined attention with striking clarity. Attention is the taking possession by the mind, in clear and vivid form, of one out of what seem several simultaneously possible objects or trains of thought. At first, this may sound abstract, but imagine this. You are at a crowded party. Music is loud. Conversations overlap all around you. Suddenly, you hear someone say your name. Instantly, everything else fades into the background. That single voice becomes sharp, clear, and alive in your awareness. This is attention at work. It pulls one signal out of chaos and places it at the center stage of consciousness. James carefully distinguished two main types of attention, both of which shape our daily lives. The first is passive attention, also called reflexive attention. This type requires no effort. It is triggered automatically by strong or sudden stimuli from the environment. A phone rings loudly while you are reading. Your attention jumps instantly. A child runs into the road as you are driving. Your awareness snaps fully into the moment. A bright flash of light, a strange smell. These are all examples of passive attention. It is a survival mechanism, fast, instinctive, and essential. The second is active attention, also known as voluntary attention. This type requires effort and intention. When you focus on solving a difficult problem, you must push aside distractions and hold your mind steady. When you listen carefully to an important lecture, you deliberately guide your awareness. Even now, as you listen to this chapter, you are choosing to direct your attention and follow these ideas. Active attention demands willpower. It costs mental energy. It is not automatic. It is a conscious choice. And here is the central insight, one of James's most profound truths. What we attend to becomes our reality. Objective reality may contain endless information, but the reality you experience is only the portion illuminated by the spotlight of your attention. If you constantly focus on mistakes, frustrations, and shortcomings, your world will feel heavy and hostile. If instead you direct attention toward opportunities, moments of beauty, growth, and gratitude, your experienced reality becomes richer and more meaningful. This is not shallow optimism. It is a psychological fact recognized by one of the greatest minds in the history of the field. We may not control everything that happens to us, but we do control where we aim the spotlight of attention. We choose what occupies the mind in clear and vivid form. Understanding attention is therefore not merely theoretical. It is practical power. Life will always send more stimuli than we can handle. Attention is how we choose. Attention is how we shape experience. Attention is how we build the world we live in. So ask yourself this: where are you pointing the spotlight of your mind? Hold that question as we move forward into the next chapter. Chapter 7: The Self, a multi-layered structure. Have you ever asked yourself the simple yet unsettling question, who am I? It sounds easy, but it has challenged philosophers and psychologists for centuries. William James approached this question with rare clarity and depth. He did not see the self as a single, solid thing. Instead, he described it as a multi-layered structure, made up of two fundamental parts: the I, the knower, and the me, the known. Let us imagine this together. There is a self that is experiencing, thinking, feeling right now. This is the I. It is the one who knows. It is like an eye that sees everything but cannot directly see itself. The I is the subject of experience, the living stream of consciousness unfolding in the present moment. It is not an object you can point to. It is a process, always changing, always active, always receiving and responding. James admitted that the I is difficult to define precisely because it is not something observed. It is the act of observing itself. Now consider the me, the self that is known. This part is easier to grasp. The me includes everything you can think of as mine. It is the object of reflection. When you say, I am confident, I enjoy reading, this is my phone, or this is my family, you are speaking from the me. James divided this me into three major layers that together form the rich portrait of who we are. First is the material self. This is the most tangible layer. It includes your body, how you experience it, how healthy it feels, how it appears to you. But it goes far beyond the body. It also includes your possessions and anything you feel deeply attached to: your clothes, your home, your car, and even the people closest to you. Think about how it feels when something you value is damaged or lost. It often feels as if a piece of you has been harmed. That is because we extend our sense of self into the material world around us. Second is the social self. This is one of James's most fascinating insights. He argued that we do not have just one social self, but many. Each time you interact with a different group, family, friends, co-workers, strangers online, a slightly different version of you appears. You may be responsible and respectful with your parents, playful with friends, professional at work. These are not masks in a dishonest sense. They are real aspects of your social self, shaped by how others see you and respond to you. The desire for recognition, acceptance, and respect plays a powerful role here. Much of human behavior is driven by this social dimension of the self. Finally, there is the spiritual self. This is the deepest and most private layer. It includes your inner capacities, your values, your beliefs, your conscience, your will. It is the sense of who you are at your core. When you say, "I value honesty," "I believe in justice," or "I choose this path because it feels right," you are speaking from the spiritual self. This layer feels the most authentic and stable. It is where reflection happens, where moral choices are made, where meaning is constructed. These three aspects of the me do not exist separately. They constantly interact and sometimes conflict. You may sacrifice material comfort to protect your values. You may adjust your social self to preserve inner integrity. James gave us a powerful framework to understand the self not as a fixed object, but as a living structure, dynamic, layered, and deeply human. So the self is not one thing. It is many things held together by experience. Understanding this helps us see why inner conflict exists, why identity can feel fluid, and why growth is possible. In the next chapter, we will explore what happens when these layers compete and how we learn to prioritize oneself over another as we move through life. Chapter 8: The Material Self. At first, this may sound a little too practical, even superficial, but William James showed us something surprisingly deep. The self does not live only in abstract thought or inner reflection. It reaches outward into the physical world, often in ways charged with emotion. So where does the material self begin? It begins with the body. Your body is the most intimate and inseparable possession you have. Every sensation, every movement, every feeling of pain or pleasure belongs directly to you. The body is not just a biological machine. It is the physical presence of your existence in the world. When your body is strong, you feel capable and whole. When it is weak or injured, your sense of self feels diminished. James argued that awareness of your body, your ability to control it, and the sensations that arise from it form the core of the material self. It is the first boundary of the self, the foundation from which the material self expands. But the material self does not stop at the skin. It stretches outward to include everything you experience as mine. Clothing is a simple example. We do not choose clothes only to cover the body. Clothing becomes a second skin. It expresses identity, belonging, status, and mood. Wearing something that fits your sense of self can increase confidence. Wearing something that feels wrong can make you feel diminished. Clothes are not neutral. They are extensions of the self. Family is one of the most powerful extensions of the material self. Parents, siblings, children are not only loved ones. They are experienced as part of who you are. Their success feels like your success. Their suffering feels personal. When a family member is insulted, the injury feels directed at you. Emotional bonds blur the boundary between individual self and shared identity. The home is another central extension. A house is not only shelter, it is memory, safety, and personal space shaped by your presence. A home represents stability and control. Even a single private room can reinforce a sense of identity and belonging. When that space is threatened or lost, the sense of self is shaken. Then there are possessions, cars, books, phones, personal objects, keepsakes. We invest time, effort, money, and emotion into them. They carry stories, labor, memory. A watch inherited from a grandparent, a book filled with notes, a phone holding years of photos. These objects are not lifeless. They hold pieces of the self. This brings us to James's key insight. Why does loss hurt so deeply, even when the object is not valuable in a practical sense? Because the material self has been wounded. When something you identify with is taken away, it feels as if a part of you has been removed. Losing a phone is not just losing hardware. It is losing memories, routines, personal organization, privacy. Damage to a home is not only financial. It is the loss of safety, history, and personal meaning. James observed that this pain comes not from material value alone, but from identity loss. We attach pieces of ourselves to the physical world. When those pieces disappear, a gap remains. So the next time you feel pride in a possession or sadness at a loss, remember this is not trivial. It is the material self responding. William James helped us see that the self is not sealed inside the mind. It is spread across the body and the world we live in. In the next chapter, we will move outward again, from the material self to the social self, the version of who we are that exists in the eyes of others. Chapter 9. The Social Self. How does the recognition of others shape who we become? Do you feel like the same person in every situation? Or do you notice subtle shifts when you are with family, with friends, or in a professional setting? If you do, you are experiencing exactly what William James called the social self. James offered a powerful insight. A person has as many social selves as there are groups of people whose opinions matter to them. This may sound complex, but it is deeply familiar. At home, you may be a devoted child. With close friends, you may be playful and bold. At work, you may become serious, disciplined, and focused. Each social setting draws out a different version of you. You adjust your words, your tone, even your behavior to match the audience before you. These versions are not fake. They are all real parts of you, revealed by different contexts. Why does this happen? James pointed to one of the strongest forces in human nature, the need for recognition. We want to be seen, valued, and accepted. This desire is not superficial. It shapes our choices from childhood to adulthood. As children, we seek approval from parents and teachers. As adults, we seek respect from peers, co-workers, and leaders. Even the way we dress, speak, and present ourselves online is influenced by how we hope others will see us. Being ignored or dismissed can hurt as deeply as physical pain. A sincere compliment or acknowledgement can lift confidence instantly. This invisible force guides much of human behavior, often without us realizing it. James also spoke about honor and reputation. These ideas may sound old-fashioned, yet they remain powerful. Throughout history, people have risked everything to defend their honor. In modern life, reputation can be built or destroyed in moments, especially in the age of social media. We fear losing face, being judged or misunderstood. Sometimes this fear outweighs even material loss. It shows how much weight the social self carries, how others see us matters, often more than we like to admit. So here is the question James leaves us with. Where is the balance? When does adapting to others help us connect? And when does it cause us to lose ourselves? Take a moment to reflect on that. And if this chapter resonated with you, please like and share the video. If you want to continue exploring the human mind with William James, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss what comes next. Chapter 10: The Spiritual Self. For me, this is the most fascinating part, a concept that I believe all of us can sense, even if it is difficult to name or define. The spiritual self, according to William James, is not something you can touch, and it is not the image you present to others. It is the command center of your entire mental life and your will. Imagine it this way. If the material self is your house, and the social self is the face you show to the world, then the spiritual self is the architect, the engineer, and the conductor of the orchestra of your mind. It is where thoughts are formed, emotions are experienced, and decisions are made. When you are listening right now, when you are reflecting on these ideas, when you ask yourself what you truly think or feel, it is the spiritual self that is at work. James described it as a collection of inner states of consciousness, what you encounter when you turn your attention inward. It is not an object, but a process, an ongoing activity. The spiritual self is where our capacity for self-reflection lives. You may have experienced moments of quiet when you think about your own thoughts, when you ask why you feel a certain way or what you truly want. That is the spiritual self observing itself, directly experiencing inner life. It is a mirror of the soul, not meant for others to look into, but for you alone. It does not depend on external approval to exist or to have value. Its worth lies in its very ability to experience and to be aware. This is where you feel most truly yourself, apart from roles, possessions, or social labels. This brings us to another essential aspect of the spiritual self. It is the home of your moral values and your conscience. When no one is watching, when social pressure falls away, what guides your actions? It is the spiritual self, shaped by the values you hold and believe in. It is the inner compass that guides you through difficult choices, the quiet voice that speaks when you stand at the boundary between right and wrong. Conscience, for James, is inseparable from the spiritual self. When you feel remorse after doing something wrong, or pride after doing what is right despite difficulty, that is the spiritual self affirming your values. It shapes your character, your sense of dignity, and who you are at the deepest level. It is not a rigid set of rules, but a lived understanding of what matters most to you, of what gives life meaning. It is the inner guide that helps you navigate the storms of life while staying true to your principles. In summary, the spiritual self in William James's view is the deepest and most essential layer of our identity. It is the center of thought and will, the place of self-reflection, and the source of our moral life. Understanding this helps us see that the true value of a person does not lie in what they own or how they are seen by others, but in their inner life, in their ability to think, feel, and choose in alignment with their values. This is a powerful idea. It invites us to look inward, to discover and nurture that core within us. Take a moment to reflect on your own spiritual self. What values define you, and what is your conscience asking of you right now? Chapter 11. The Conflict of the Selves. It may sound academic at first, but in reality, this is a quiet battle taking place inside every one of us. It is the inner struggle between different versions of who we are. Have you ever felt as if several versions of you were pulling in opposite directions? One part of you wants to focus on work and career growth. Another part longs to spend the evening reading or learning something new. And yet another part simply wants to lie down and watch a movie. This is exactly the terrain that William James explored more than a century ago. He examined the complexity of the self and the way we wrestle with its many competing forms. James argued that we do not possess a single unified self, but rather a collection of selves, each with its own desires and goals, Think of your social self. This is the version of you that appears in the external world. The dutiful child, the responsible employee, the reliable friend, the law-abiding citizen. This self seeks recognition, respect, and position within society. We constantly adjust our behavior to meet the expectations of the groups we belong to. In this sense, one person can have many social selves, depending on context and audience. Then, deeper within, there is your spiritual self. This is your inner core, the home of your values, conscience, beliefs, private dreams, and moral principles. The spiritual self does not chase applause or fear criticism. It seeks inner peace, meaning, and growth. These two selves are not always aligned. In fact, they often compete for control of your life. This is the heart of the conflict between the social self and the spiritual self. Have you ever had to choose between doing what society expects of you, such as attending an exhausting social obligation, and doing what your soul truly wants, such as staying home to read, reflect, or rest? If so, you have already lived this conflict. Here is where James becomes especially insightful. He observed that for one self to grow stronger, we often have to sacrifice part of another self. This may sound harsh, but life is a series of choices and trade-offs. We cannot fully satisfy all versions of ourselves at the same time. I remember facing a major decision myself. To fully commit to a personal creative project, I needed time, focus, and solitude. That meant declining social invitations and even passing up some attractive professional opportunities. My social self wanted interaction and recognition. My spiritual self wanted depth, creation, and inner alignment. I chose to sacrifice part of my social engagement during that period so my inner work could grow. There was no guilt, only clarity about the cost and the value of the choice. One of the most enduring examples James discussed is the tension between material success and spiritual meaning. A person may devote their life to accumulating wealth, building status, and achieving power. This represents a strong development of the social self, aligned with what society rewards. But it often comes at the cost of time, inner stillness, family life, or even moral compromise. Another person may choose to give up material advantage in order to pursue ideals, serve others, or live simply while remaining rich in inner meaning. They may lack fame or fortune, yet experience deep satisfaction and peace through conscience and purpose. This reflects the growth of the spiritual self. There is no universal right or wrong choice here. What matters is awareness. Which self is guiding you and why? If you pursue wealth only because it is expected of you, not because it aligns with your deepest values, then the social self may be dominating. If you reject material success merely to appear noble in the eyes of others, then the social self is still quietly in control. In the modern world, this conflict is even sharper. Social media pressure, cultural definitions of success, and expectations from family and peers constantly test the spiritual self. How do we prevent the social self from consuming the inner one? How do we remain true to ourselves amid so many external voices? The lesson I take from William James is self-awareness. To recognize the different selves within us, to listen to each one, and to make conscious choices about which self we wish to nourish and which we are willing to set aside at different stages of life. This inner struggle is not a weakness. It is part of being human. It reflects the richness and complexity of the mind. It forces us to keep shaping ourselves, asking again and again, which version of you needs attention right now, and which one leads you toward a fuller and more meaningful life. It is an ongoing journey, but one that is deeply worth taking. Chapter 12: The Experience of Time. Time is a concept we all believe we understand, yet it hides some of the most surprising truths about the human mind. I am certain you have asked yourself before why time sometimes seems to stand still, while at other moments it flies by in an instant. With his sharp insight, William James helps us unravel this mystery in Chapter 12, The Experience of Time. The purpose of this chapter is to understand how the human mind experiences time subjectively, not as objective clock time measured by hours and minutes. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself what the present really is? It sounds strange at first. We usually think of the present as a single point, an infinitely small moment between the past and the future. A split second, something that cannot be divided. But William James, often called the father of modern psychology, challenged this intuitive view. He introduced an idea that completely changes how we think about the present. James argued that the present is not a single point in time, but a short duration, a span that includes the recent past and the immediate future. He called this the specious present. Imagine 1 second. Within that single second, you can hear a sound begin and end, or follow a small movement from start to finish. You are not experiencing a single frozen instant. You are experiencing duration, continuity, flow. To make this clearer, think about music. A melody is not a collection of isolated notes. It is a continuous experience where each note blends with those that came before and those that follow. The present we experience works the same way. It is more like a short movie clip than a still image. It has width and depth. James suggested that this specious present usually lasts from a few seconds to up to a minute, depending on the person and the situation. This span is essential. Without it, we could not understand language, follow a story, or experience life as continuous. Everything would appear as disconnected fragments without meaning. That is why you can understand a complete sentence, even though each word technically belongs to the past the moment it is spoken. Your mind holds those words together inside the specious present to create meaning. It is remarkable when you think about it. Now, let us move to an experience everyone knows well: why time flies when we are busy or engaged, and drags endlessly when we are bored or waiting. When time seems to pass quickly, such as during a vacation, while reading a captivating book, or while working on an exciting project, hours or even days seem to vanish. William James explained that when we are busy, the mind is filled with new stimuli, actions, and information. Our attention is fully absorbed in what is happening, not in the passage of time itself. Each moment is rich with experience, so we do not watch the clock. When we look back, this experience-rich past feels short. On the other hand, when time seems to slow down, such as while waiting in a clinic or sitting through a dull meeting, every second feels stretched. When boredom sets in, the mind lacks stimulation. With nothing meaningful to focus on, attention turns inward toward the passage of time itself. You become aware of each second as it passes, making time feel longer than it truly is. From this, a clear distinction emerges. There are two kinds of time. Clock time is objective, linear, and unchanging. 1 hour is always 60 minutes, regardless of how you feel. It is an external measurement created to organize life. Psychological time is subjective, flexible, and elastic. It is how the mind experiences time passing. It expands or contracts depending on attention, emotion, interest, and experience. Think about childhood. Do you remember how long summers seemed back then? Each day felt full, new, and expansive. The child mind constantly absorbs new experiences, creating a dense, specious present that makes time feel longer. As we grow older, life becomes more routine. Work repeats, habits form, novelty fades. The mind receives fewer new impressions. As a result, weeks, months, and years seem to pass faster. Time appears to accelerate, not because clock time has changed, but because our experience of it has. Time, then, is not merely numbers on a clock. it is deeply intertwined with consciousness itself. How we experience time reveals how we live, where we place our attention, and how fully we engage with the world. William James offered us a profound insight into one of the most fundamental aspects of consciousness. I hope this perspective encourages you to reflect on how you experience your own moments, how you inhabit them, and how many of them quietly slip by unnoticed. Live with curiosity, with attention, and with presence, so that each moment becomes richer and more meaningful, no matter what the clock may say. Chapter 13. Memory, the reappearance of the past. Have you ever wondered how fragments of past memories can suddenly surface in your mind, sometimes triggered by nothing more than a familiar scent or an old melody? William James did not stop at asking what memory is. He went further into the mechanism behind it. The goal of this chapter is to clearly understand how the brain stores and retrieves information as James understood it. William James made a remarkably sharp distinction between two kinds of memory that we often confuse as one. The first is primary memory, also known as short-term memory. Think of it as the lingering echo of the present moment. It is what you are immediately aware of right now, what is still resonating in your mind. For example, as I speak these words, you still clearly retain the sentence I just said. If someone reads you a phone number, you can repeat it instantly. But if you do not rehearse it or focus on it, it fades very quickly. This is not remembering the past. It is the immediate extension of the present itself. The second is secondary memory, what we usually mean when we say memory. This is the vast storehouse of experiences and information that truly belong to the past. Childhood moments, a trip you took last year, the name of the capital of France. These memories are no longer present in immediate awareness. They are stored, and they require a process of retrieval to return to consciousness. This distinction is crucial because it shows that not everything we call remembering operates in the same way or relies on the same mechanism. So how does a memory from secondary memory suddenly reappear in the mind? This is where James introduced one of his most powerful ideas, the role of associations. According to James, no idea or experience in the mind exists in isolation. They are more like nodes in a vast network, connected by countless invisible threads. These threads are associations. A memory does not simply appear on its own. It is activated by another idea, sensation, or perception that is linked to it. Imagine walking outside and suddenly smelling jasmine. In an instant, an image of your grandmother's garden appears in your mind, followed by the warmth of summer days and the sound of family laughter. The scent of jasmine is the association that unlocked the door to that entire chain of memories. James believed that remembering is a process in which one idea pulls another along through these associative links. Without associations, memories become isolated, like books in a library with no catalog, impossible to find. This leads to one of James's most profound insights, one that remains deeply relevant today. A good memory is not the ability to stuff more information into the mind. It is the ability to build a rich, dense, and well-organized network of associations between ideas. A person with an excellent memory does not have a larger storage space. They have more pathways leading to the same memory. They have created, consciously or unconsciously, such a dense web of connections that touching one point brings an entire cluster of related information into awareness. Think of a well-organized library with multiple cross-references. You can find the same book through the author, the subject, the genre, or even another related topic. That is what a strong memory looks like. In contrast, a disorganized pile of books, no matter how many it contains, makes retrieval extremely difficult. This insight has powerful practical implications. To improve memory, we must do more than simply absorb information. We must actively connect new information to what we already know. Ask yourself, what does this relate to? What does it remind me of? What experience can I link this to? Through this lens, William James showed us that memory is not a static filing cabinet. It is a living, dynamic network, constantly shaped by the associations we create. And the key to mastering it lies in those very connections. Chapter 14, Association. Have you ever experienced this feeling? A faint scent suddenly passes by. The scent of your grandmother's garden long ago, or the smell of a cake your mother baked on rainy afternoons. And suddenly, you feel as if you have been instantly transported back in time, not just to an image, but to an entire atmosphere, a feeling, even the sounds and conversations of that moment returning all at once. This is association, one of the most remarkable mechanisms of the human mind, and the focus of Chapter 14 in this monumental work. With his sharp insight, William James carefully analyzed and explained how a single scent can awaken an entire world of childhood memories. He pointed out that our brains do not store memories in isolation. Instead, everything is woven into a complex network. When you smell that scent, it is not merely a sensory signal. It is a gateway leading to experiences that once occurred alongside that scent, images, sounds, emotions, and conversations. Like a vast library where each book is not only labeled by its title, but also connected to hundreds of other books through themes, authors, colors, or even their position on the shelf. Scent is one of the most powerful indexes because our sense of smell is directly connected to deep brain regions associated with emotion and memory. So how does the mind connect ideas in this way? James focused on two main principles: contiguity and similarity. The principle of contiguity is the most basic and perhaps the easiest to understand. It states that any two ideas that have occurred together or in close succession in space or time tend to be recalled together in the future. A simple example is this. When you think of a table, you may immediately think of a chair because we usually see them together. When you hear a national anthem, you think of a flag because they often appear at the same time. This is how we memorize a poem, remember the sequence of steps in a task, or even form daily habits. Ideas stick together simply because we have experienced them side by side. The principle of similarity is slightly more complex and also more intriguing. It states that one idea can evoke another idea that resembles it, even if the two have never appeared together. Imagine looking at the sky and seeing a white, drifting cloud. You may instantly think of a sheep grazing in a field, or some familiar shape, even though you have never seen clouds and sheep together. Or when you hear a new melody that feels strangely familiar because it resembles an old song you once knew, even though the two songs have no direct connection in origin. This is how the brain searches for patterns, detects hidden resemblances, and forms more abstract connections. When these principles are applied flexibly, creativity emerges. Creativity is not the creation of something from nothing. It is the ability to connect ideas that seem unrelated in a new way. Think of those sudden moments of insight when a solution unexpectedly appears in your mind. That is the result of a new association being formed. When Steve Jobs looked at calligraphy classes and connected them to computer fonts, it was a distant association, yet a revolutionary one that reshaped user interface design. When a scientist observed an apple falling and connected it to planetary motion, it was a link between the small and the vast through a deep similarity. The mind of a creative person is one that can build unique bridges between distant islands of ideas, breaking old associations to form new pathways of thought, opening possibilities that never existed before. So the next time a scent unexpectedly carries you back into the past, or a difficult problem suddenly finds its solution from an unlikely source, remember that this is the power of association at work. William James opened a door for us to understand the intricate network we call the mind, where every idea and every experience is a node waiting to be connected, forming the larger picture of awareness and consciousness. Chapter 15. instinct, and emotion. We often tend to believe that human beings, with our complex brains and advanced thinking abilities, are less driven by instinct than other animals. Dogs and cats act on instinct, while we rely on reason, thought, and choice. That idea sounds perfectly logical, does it not? However, William James completely overturns this familiar way of thinking. He argues that in reality, human beings are not less instinctive, but more instinctive than any other species on the planet. This may sound paradoxical at first, yet it is one of his most radical and insightful observations. James explains that humans possess an enormous number of instincts, far more numerous and more complex than those of animals. We have instincts for communication, imitation, curiosity, play, affection, protection, dislike, shame, jealousy, status seeking, fear of exclusion, and many more. According to James, the list is virtually endless. The key difference is that humans have an extraordinary capacity to learn and adapt. Because of this, our instincts do not appear in a rigid or mechanical form. Instead, they are shaped, refined, and intertwined with experience, culture, education, and social context. As a result, we often fail to recognize that we are acting instinctively at all, and we assume our behavior is guided purely by reason. In animals, instincts are usually obvious and fixed. In humans, instincts are flexible, subtle, and constantly transformed. And it is precisely this vast network of overlapping instincts that allows human beings to adapt to countless environments and to create rich, diverse, and sometimes contradictory cultures. From this understanding of instinct, James leads us into an even more challenging territory: the world of emotion. This is where we encounter one of the most controversial and influential ideas in the history of psychology, the James Lange theory of emotion. Most of us intuitively believe that emotion follows a simple sequence. First, an event occurs. Then, we feel an emotion. Finally, our body reacts. For example, you see a bear. You feel fear. Then, your heart races, your legs tremble, and you run. This sequence feels natural and obvious. But James and Carl Lange proposed the exact opposite order. They argued that we do not tremble because we are afraid. We are afraid because we tremble. We do not cry because we are sad. We are sad because we cry. At first, this sounds wrong, almost absurd. But let us slow down and examine it more carefully. According to the James Lange theory, when a stimulus appears, especially one related to survival, the body reacts first. When you see a bear, your nervous system immediately activates. Your heart pounds. Your breathing becomes rapid. Your muscles tense. Blood flows to your limbs. Your pupils widen. And it is your awareness of these bodily changes that creates the emotion you label as fear. In this view, emotion is not the cause of bodily reaction. Emotion is the subjective experience of those bodily reactions. The body acts first. The mind interprets afterward. If this seems strange, think about your own experiences. Have you ever noticed your heart racing, your stomach tightening, or your hands shaking before you consciously realized that you were anxious? Or have you ever smiled first and then felt happier afterward? Or begun crying and only then felt the full weight of sadness settle in? James suggests that emotions are not abstract mental states that appear out of nowhere. They are the felt experience of changes happening within the body. And if this theory is correct, its implications are profound. It suggests that if you want to change how you feel, you do not always need to begin with your thoughts. You can begin with your body. If you feel sad, try standing upright, opening your chest, and breathing deeply. If you feel anxious, slow your breathing, relax your shoulders, and allow a gentle smile to form, even if it feels forced at first. If you feel drained or unmotivated, move your body and change your physical rhythm. These physical changes are not mere acting. According to James, they send signals back to the brain and gradually shift your emotional state. This idea forms the foundation of many modern practices, from body language training and breath work to meditation, yoga, and body-based therapies used today. Once again, William James challenges how we understand ourselves. We are not simply rational creatures who happen to have instincts. We are deeply instinctive beings. And we are not merely people who possess emotions. We experience emotion through the living body itself. The idea that we are sad because we cry and afraid because we tremble is a powerful reversal of perspective. It opens a new doorway, one that allows us to become more active participants in shaping our inner world, not by forcing positive thoughts, but by beginning with the body that is already here, alive, responsive, and deeply connected to the mind. Take a moment to reflect on this. The next time an emotion arises, perhaps you will listen to your body first, and in doing so, understand your feelings in an entirely new way. Chapter 16. Will we now come to the closing chapter of Part 1? A chapter of great importance, a chapter that carries both power and responsibility. Chapter 16. Will. This is not simply a final chapter. It is a meaningful conclusion that William James intended as an opening, an invitation to rethink how we see ourselves and our future. The goal of this section is to explore the role of will in shaping personal destiny. And I believe that by the time you finish listening, you will feel as if you are holding a powerful key in your hands. James defines will in a remarkably practical way. There is nothing mystical or abstract about it. He says that will is the ability to hold an idea, a goal, or a difficult choice in the mind long enough for it to turn into action. Imagine this. You are trying to learn a new skill, or simply resisting the temptation of a late-night dessert. Inside your mind, there are many competing voices. I am tired. I will start tomorrow. Just a little will not hurt. Will is the brake. Will is the anchor that holds you to your original intention. It is the moment when you choose not to give up, even when your mind is urging you toward comfort and ease. Will is not a supernatural force that suddenly appears. It is a deliberate mental act. It is inner persistence. It requires you to constantly resist distractions, temptations, and the natural tendency of the brain to seek the path of least effort. But how can we hold an idea in the mind without another crucial factor? This brings us to the intimate relationship between attention and will. James emphasizes that these two are like two sides of the same coin and cannot be separated. Think of will as the driver of a vehicle and attention as the headlights. If you want to move in a specific direction toward a goal, the driver uses the headlights to illuminate that path and keeps them focused there despite fog, waves, or obstacles. In the same way, will directs attention and keeps it fixed on what matters. We attend to what we choose, and sustained attention itself is an act of will. At the same time, will chooses where attention will be placed. If you want to build a good habit, your will forces your attention to focus on the benefits of that habit and on the necessary action, rather than on discomfort or difficulty. This is something I try to practice daily when I need to concentrate on work or learning something new. Without attention, will becomes powerless. Without will, attention drifts without direction. And now, as we prepare to close part 1 of this journey into the mind, James offers a powerful conclusion, a statement that challenges each of us to reconsider who we are. Human beings are the architects of their own minds through habit and will. You may remember how much time James devoted to habits. Habits create pathways in the brain that allow actions to occur with little effort from will. Walking, brushing your teeth, driving a car, these are all habits. But who creates those habits? Will does. Will helps us establish good habits and abandon harmful ones. For example, will helps you begin exercising each day. At first, it is difficult. You must use will to get out of bed. But over time, it becomes a habit. You rise automatically without much effort. At that point, will is freed to focus on other goals, on building new habits. James insists that we are not victims of fate or momentary impulses. We possess the capacity to shape ourselves. Every choice, every moment we hold an idea in the mind, every habit we form, becomes a brick in the structure of our mental home. Through will, we give direction to our lives. We choose who we become and what we do. Will allows us to rise above instinct and temporary desire and move toward a larger vision, toward the person we wish to become. And with that, part 1 comes to a close. Not with an ending, but with a responsibility placed gently in your hands. The responsibility to recognize that your mind is not fixed, your future is not sealed, and your will, when guided by attention and shaped into habit, is one of the most powerful forces you possess. So we have traveled together through some complex but deeply meaningful ideas from William James in The Principles of Psychology, Volume 1. It has been a truly worthwhile journey. To make these insights easier to remember and apply in daily life, I would like to summarize 3 core ideas that give this work its lasting value. Let us reflect on what we can take home from this intellectual journey. The first and perhaps most powerful lesson James offers is this: we are collections of habits, yet the brain is flexible and capable of change. Consider how much of daily life is guided by habit. From tying your shoes, brewing your morning coffee, to reacting to familiar situations, habit directs much of what we do. James emphasized that the brain is designed to form neural pathways that turn repeated actions into automatic behavior. This allows us to function efficiently and frees consciousness to focus on new challenges. He compared habit formation to folding a piece of paper. Each time the same fold is made, the crease becomes deeper and easier to repeat. But here is the remarkable insight. James also emphasized that the brain is not a rigid machine. He anticipated what we now call neural plasticity, the capacity of the brain to change, adapt, and learn even in adulthood. This means that no matter how deeply ingrained a habit may be, we always retain the ability to form better ones. No one is too old or too fixed to change. James reminds us that transformation remains possible whenever we act with awareness and persistence, creating new folds in the paper of our lives. The second essential idea to remember is this: consciousness is not a series of separate states, but a continuous and deeply personal stream. Before James, consciousness was often imagined as separate units placed side by side, with each thought or emotion existing independently. James replaced this image with that of a flowing river. There are no sharp breaks or pauses. Each moment blends into the next, forming a seamless experience. As you listen now, you do not process isolated words, but a continuous flow of meaning and context moving through your mind. Even more important is that this stream is profoundly personal. Your stream of consciousness is entirely different from mine, even if we experience the same event. Memory, experience, desire, and attitude shape how each of us experiences reality. This reminds us that every individual perspective is unique. It encourages respect for the inner experience of others and greater awareness of our own mental stream. By observing where your stream flows and what it carries, you gain deeper self-understanding. The third and most practical insight is this: we can change our lives by changing our attention and attitude. James believed that one of the greatest human powers is the ability to direct attention. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control what you focus on. You can attend to problems or to solutions. You can dwell on difficulty or search for opportunity within it. Even in the face of serious challenges, attention remains your most powerful tool. From attention comes attitude. Attitude is not a passive reaction, but an active choice. You may choose bitterness or resilience, despair or courage, regardless of circumstances. James showed that real power lies here. By changing where you place attention and how you face reality, you reshape your lived experience. This is not abstract theory. It is a practical tool for building meaning and fulfillment even during hardship. These three ideas, the flexibility of the brain and the power of habit, the personal stream of consciousness, and the ability to shape life through attention and attitude, form the foundation William James laid for modern psychology. Even without reading every page of his extensive volumes, these insights alone can inspire a deeper and more thoughtful way of seeing yourself and the world. This brings us to the end of our journey through Volume 1 of the Principles of Psychology. It is a book not only to read, but to reflect on and apply. In the spirit of James, knowledge must become action, and action must shape life. If there is one idea to carry forward, it is the ability to turn James' insights into concrete steps. One of the most impactful sections is his work on habit. He showed that our lives are built from habits and that we have the power to shape them. You may already sense a habit you want to change, or a new one you wish to build. James' guidance remains clear. Begin with strong commitment. Allow no exceptions that break the chain. Practice until the behavior becomes automatic. Right now, consider identifying one habit you will change or begin using these principles. For myself, I intend to begin a daily creative journaling practice without skipping a day, even if only a few lines are written. Shared intentions often strengthen commitment and inspire others. This concludes Volume 1 of a monumental work. Volume 2 offers even more depth as James explores will, emotion, perception, and additional dimensions of the human mind. It promises further challenging and illuminating perspectives that deepen our understanding of ourselves and our world. To continue this journey and explore Volume 2 together, make sure you are subscribed and ready to follow the next discussions as they are released. We will continue uncovering the enduring wisdom of William James. Thank you for accompanying me on this exploration. Remember that knowledge is not only meant to be known, but to be lived. I look forward to continuing the conversation and the journey ahead.